saw here that, of course, silence is a very laudable thing. There are, nevertheless, of course, times when a person should speak, but there are a majority of cases when a person should be reluctant to speak, and other times when it's clearly forbidden to speak. 4 things that he mentioned most recently were things having to do with, like, scoffing, particularly making fun of things having to do with God, belief, the Torah laws and practices. There's flattery. There is lashon hara, and I think there were 4, right? That's a note. Yes, scoffing, flattery, what?
Falsehood.
Yes, lying. Was that it?
Lying, lashon hara, leitzanut.
Yes, and lashon hara. Okay. So now let's go through. So now in this paragraph, the end of Kuf Nun, leitzanus. Leitzanus nechlechet lechamisha cholokim. Leitzanus, this scoffing, is subdivided into 5 parts. Hoechad, the first, ish hanoisen doifi b'vnei adam. Kamo shenemar, teshev ba'achicha, sedaber b'ven imecha, titen doifi. So it means the first type of leitzanos is just making fun of people. Sitting among your friends, your family, right? You're just making jokes about people, you know. Umisha somebody who does this, nikra leitz, he's called a joker. It says, Zayd yohir leitz. So a joker will hauntingly, arrogantly do wrong. Oisei be'evras zodon, and he does this with like an angry type, an intentional type of wickedness. Perush, what this perush pasuk ukach, the explanation of this is as follows: Zayd yohir leitz, which I translated as one who, like the scoffer, brazenly, arrogantly transgresses. Halotzon yeshbo shtei midos ros. This mocking has 2 bad aspects. Hoechas, the one of them, shu zayd, vose haver bezodon. He's like intentional. He does it brazenly. Shu mezid al chavero. He intentionally makes fun of his friend. B'davar she'en lo bo revach, oise nezik v'chefsid godol chavero. And something where he doesn't actually have any gain, he causes harm to his friend. Because it's one thing in the search for gain to cause another person to lose. That's bad enough as it is. But I mean, you can understand. It's justified. I mean, you can understand why a person would do that because he gets something out of it. But to scoff at somebody, make fun of somebody where he doesn't get anything out of it, that's even worse. Now, what do you mean doesn't get anything out of it? He has a great time. He has a joke at somebody else's expense. He causes other people to laugh and so forth and so on. I guess what he means is you don't get anything tangible out of it. Kikshu noisen doifi umavish reichoi be'enei v'nei adam umasnio, because when he causes other people to disparage him, and he makes this person look bad in front of other people's eyes, and he causes them to hate him. This is the worst form of evil, even worse than stealing. Because when he steals, it's not like from an evil heart. It's just that he feels that he wants, he desires this person's objects, so he takes them. But it's generally speaking, it's not coming from an evil intention. It's just to give him some tangible benefit, to increase his wealth, or to satisfy whatever he wants or needs. But somebody who makes fun of, scoffs, harangues other people, he doesn't get any tangible benefit out of this. And this is of evil heart. That's the first point, therefore, that it is like intentional, malicious. I guess maybe that's the point. It's like malicious. And the second thing, it also comes out of arrogance. Bal gaiva. And that's why he casts aspersions against other people, because he thinks he's above them. But a wise person, he is humble and low. Makir mumo latzmo, and he knows his own shortcomings. So he recognizes before he goes and starts besmirching somebody else's reputation, he considers that he's got plenty of reprehensible things of his own to address, and therefore it's going to cause him to retract from speaking badly about people, from making fun of them. Mitoch kach lo yislotzetz b'fnei adam liten behem doifi, and therefore he won't make fun of other people, causing them, pointing out their faults. Kedarke helitzanim, which is what the scoffers do. Hayoshvim ve'omrim, we sit and they say, ploni aso kach v'kach, u'mislotzim bo. He made such a stupid thing. Can you imagine that? And they start talking, from the morning to the evening, making fun of people and the things that they do and so forth and so on. These are the scoffers. So, what we've seen so far is that within the category of scoffers, you have 4 types. The first type is somebody who just makes fun of people. Within that first type, you have two parts. The first part is the maliciousness, and the second part is the arrogance. Okay? But that's all the first form of scoffing, which is making fun of people. Now we're up to the second type of scoffer. Hasheni, shelo yegal divrei v'nei adam avur shehu boizei lehem mechmas shelo hitzlichu gam hem b'momon v'chavod v'loyeg be'einayim lo shiten behem mum elehem nivzim be'inav. The second category, he says, is somebody who makes fun of other people, because he disrespects them. Why? Because they were not particularly successful with money or with honor, and therefore he makes fun of the poor people. Not that he's actually pointing out any fault of theirs, but he's just ridiculing their position. Right? They're not saying he's stupid, or they're not saying he's irrational, or he's not practical. But he's just talking about, he disrespects them because they're not particularly, successful. Yeah, what were you going to say?
Is this, for example, when people make fun of African American people because in society they're not in...
Yeah, that could be an example of that. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be against a category of people. It could be against an individual as well. But the point is, it's not like he's saying, he's an idiot, or he's foolish, or he has no common sense, and then you make fun of him in different ways based around this particular thing. It's more just like you make fun of a person, make light of a person or a class of people because they're like considered to be a lower status. He says this also comes about because of gava, pride, arrogance. Or sometimes it comes about just through complacency, because a person's got, an easy life and he's got nothing to do, he's bored, so he starts talking about the Puerto Ricans. He's just talking about, whatever. Kamoshin Emar says, Rabas Savala Nafshenu Halag Hushanunim. Rabas Savala, we have, Rabas Savala, we have absorbed a lot of abuse. Nafshenu halag hashananim. Our souls have received a lot of lag, which is ridicule, from the shananim, from those who have it easy. So you can think of maybe like the people who might consider themselves to be in the more elite class. We'll talk about the common folk in a very kind of demeaning, deprecating way. And this is an example of a scenario where people who they've got the easy life, they tend to make fun of other people who don't. And these people who've got life easy, nothing's a real challenge, they don't have any real difficulties in life, we find that they sometimes also will cast aspersion and make fun of the righteous. These people generally live indulgent, luxurious lives, and that's different than the Torah's teachings would encourage a person. And therefore, to justify their lovely lifestyle, champagne and caviar, they have to criticize the rabbis, the sages, the righteous, who live a more simple lifestyle. It says, "Kula loeg li." Everybody is making fun of me. Jeremiah says. V'ne'emar further, it says, "Loeg l'rosh cheref osehu." Somebody makes fun of the poor. Cheref osehu. He's making him a churpa, like he's embarrassing him. Somebody makes fun of the poor person, causes him great embarrassment. Perush. Well, here he's going explaining again. Mi sheloyeg l'rosh avushu rash. Somebody makes fun of a poor person because of his poverty. V'nira be'inav mashu rash hu mechmas chesro en chachmaso, and he imagines that the reason why he's poor is because of his lack of intelligence. Umashu oshir hu mechmas chachmaso, or what makes a person wealthy is his brains. It says, God warns in the Torah, telling us, I'll give you, when you come into the land, great bounty and blessing, but beware, lest you come to attribute your success to your own endeavors, and say, Koichi v'oitzim yodi, my own strength and the power of my own hand has brought me all of these things, and you forget God. So you see from here, people are likely to think a person who's wealthy is because it comes about through his own deeds. And if he's poor, it's because he's not successful in his deeds. And therefore, this reason, this wealthy jet set might look at the generally less well-off, observant people as being stupid. Right? Yeah, as being stupid. Such a person who makes fun of the righteous because of their generally less lavish lifestyle, that's like making fun of God. All those religious people, they walk around in dark clothing all day, somber, and a bunch of imbeciles,
You should go to the army.
Huh? Whatever, Snoring or not snoring, walking around in those dark clothing and somber faces. You go downtown, any major downtown area is full of such people who would fit such a description. Dark clothing and serious faces. Because that's where they're at business. That's how people act when they're at work. They dress in dark, which is generally considered to be a respectable type of clothing, and not flamboyant, colorful clothing. And they're serious-minded about what they're doing.
Nowadays, there's a lot of flamboyant colors people wear.
Yeah, they are?
Even the respectable people.
Yeah, in business?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're right? Oh, so times have changed. Not investment bankers. Yeah? What do they do? Wear pink and purple done paisley patterned.
Yeah, patterns, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah?
I'll just stay silent.
No, I mean, you would know. I'm saying, if you go to any normal city, downtown is full of people that would fit that description. So all of a sudden, so what's wrong with the Orthodox wearing dark clothes and having serious faces?
It's out of their. It's because they're not like that.
Guilt.
Did you say guilt?
Guilt.
Guilt?
Guilt.
Yes. Oh, guilt.
Guilt.
Oh. Yeah, the guilt. Yeah. Because in the end of the day, they're dressing formally and acting seriously, and they're dressing formally and acting seriously. So why are these worthy of praise and these worthy of criticism?
Because they're from the same background. They're the same family.
Same group.
Same group.
Yeah.
But they're acting different.
Yeah.
So if what they're doing is correct, then I have to change my lifestyle. But if I mock what they're doing, then
Yeah.
then I'm not
It
obligated.
justifies what I'm doing right.
Yeah, and the truth is that even though they might be dressing sometimes seriously with serious faces, they don't really want to do that. They're conforming to the norm. They would much rather be wearing multicolored clothing, swinging on vines from tree to tree, having a grand old time in the jungle. Yeah? Eating kosher or non-kosher ice cream, for that matter. So how can there be people who like that all of the time? That's very, it's very foreign. So those people aren't happy with what they're doing. Right? So these people, who in their right mind would want to do that all of the time? But because we take our job very seriously all of the time. Yeah. In any case, they make fun of them. But you should know it has nothing to do with intelligence. God is the one who brings prosperity or poverty. It's all according to divine providence. The wealthy and the poor, they touch. Meaning they're similar. How so? Because they're both from Hashem. Right? The common, what's common between the wealthy and the poor?
Both come from the same place.
Yeah.
And they both go to the same place.
They both come from earth and go to earth, and their condition while alive comes from Hashem. So somebody makes jokes about people being poor, they must be stupid, ignorant, and talented, right? What they're really doing is they're making fun of Hashem, because they're not recognizing that it's Hashem who determines whether one is wealthy or poor. You have plenty of wise people who are poor, and you have plenty of stupid people that are filthy rich. Huh?
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you do.
Yeah, plenty of.
That's not the norm.
Well, it's true that the world operates in certain like normal laws, and yeah, I mean, the more intelligent a person is, you'd think the more able he is to procure his needs and make correct decisions and strategies and so forth and so on. I'm saying you have plenty of people, and they're not the brightest. That they're rolling in dough. They have a good business, and they're rolling in dough. And you have other people who are very intelligent, and they can barely make ends meet. Yeah, take yours truly. Hashlishi. What?
Usually poor people.
Yeah.
It's not a land.
It's not a land of plenty. So plenty of what?
Make it rich.
Yeah.
Usually people.
Yeah.
They don't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the streets are paved with gold, huh?
They used to say.
With guilt. Now they're paved with guilt. Hashlishi. Yesh loeg ledvarim ve'ein dato lahavzois ba'alehem. The third form is a person who kind of ridicules things, but not necessarily people. Ach marchik peulos sheyesh tikva va'achris lepeulosam. He maybe distances himself from things which could have some favorable outcome. V'letzazeh hu chacham be'einav. This scoffer, he's wise in his eyes. Anything that he hasn't done, he hasn't embarked upon, anything that he hasn't decided to do, he makes fun of, he cheers. Oh, that's a stupid way of acting, that's a stupid way of behaving, that's a stupid way of thinking. Because he doesn't act, behave, or think that way, so it must be stupid. But he's stupid. He thinks he's the only way. Upamim teviyehu amida zois lidei minus, and this approach to life can actually bring a person to apostasy, heresy. La'alig al mitzvos, yeah, to make fun of the mitzvos. Dichsiv, as it says, Zaydim helitzuni ad me'od mitoras zecha lo yinatisi. Zaydim helitzuni ad me'od. These scoffers, they have made fun of me greatly, and because of your Torah, but nevertheless, from your Torah, I have not deviated. Such a person will not accept rebuke. As it says, don't rebuke this scoffer, because he might hate you. V'omer, it says, Yoiser let's lokeach lo kolon. Somebody who gives musar to this lates, this what? I keep saying scoffer, but what's another word? This ridiculer, lokech lo kolon, he's actually bringing upon himself embarrassment because the scoffer is going to start heaping embarrassment upon him as well. V'avar chacham beinav, since he thinks he's wise, mis loitzets bepulas odam echer, he makes fun of the ways of other people. Yeah? So, you know, that you can clearly translate that to the mitzvos. Talking about somebody who doesn't believe in God, or if he does, doesn't believe in the Torah. If he does, doesn't believe that the laws in the Torah are divine. Or if he does, he thought perhaps that was at one time, but no longer. For any of these reasons and more, a person might look at any of the particular mitzvos and say, God, that's silly. That really is silly. That a person shouldn't eat pig. Right? What's wrong with pork? He doesn't know what he's missing. Sizzling bacon on a Sunday morning is sumptuously delicious. And his serpentine S-pronouncing tongue, right, doesn't know what he's talking about because he says, everybody knows that the only reason why Judaism outlaws eating pork is because pigs carry trichinosis. But these ridiculous backward Neanderthals haven't woken up to realize that with modern medications and injections and so forth and so on, there's no longer trichinosis among pigs.
There is actually.
Yeah, but this is what the person says. Why shouldn't they be able to eat, why shouldn't people be able to eat pork? Nobody died because of eating pork. Think God cares whether people eat pig or not? He created it. All of a sudden, you're disparaging God's creations? Mr. Religious, yeah? So he becomes spewing forth all this refuse and this garbage, And you say to him, well, I mean, is it really because of trichinosis? I mean, there are other animals that the Torah prohibits, and we don't have any record of them having trichinosis. Like what? Oh, the camel, the horse.
They have other parasites.
Everything has parasites, but... Everything has parasites, but the point is this person raises the banner of trichinosis. You don't know what you're talking about. It has nothing to do with trichinosis. God said in the Torah, certain categories are forbidden, others are permitted. It's got to chew its cud and have cloven hooves. That's all there is to it. Yeah, it has nothing to do with trichinosis. It has nothing to do with anything else. Yeah, or he says, what's all this garbage about Judaism being matrilineal, and the father's Jewish and the mother's not? The person's not Jewish. If the mother's Jewish, and through her genes the child is Jewish, so then, genetically speaking, the same thing should apply to the father. It should be enough that one person be Jewish in order for Judaism to be passed on. What's this matrilineal? What's this matrilineal baloney? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. It should be discarded. And they'll, if they had a beard, they'd stroke it and they'd say, well, you know why the Torah says that the Jewish identity comes through the mother? Because they say, according to this theory, that when the child comes from the mother, you certainly know who the parent is. But when the father, but you have no, but if it's based on the father, you have no way of knowing who the father is. Oh, wow, that makes sense. Gee, wow, you're brilliant. I mean, you could be a Talmudic sage. The rabbis didn't think about that, I'm sure. Come on. So now they've justified calling a person Jewish even if the father's Jewish, right? Rejecting the Torah law that it's matrilineal, not patrilineal, because it makes perfect sense to their small little minds. It's obvious the reason why the Torah says this. It comes through the mother, because you're sure to know who the mother is. But how do you know who the father is? Well, Mr. Smarty Pants, is there anything in the Torah which is patrilineal? Right? Tribal affiliation. And that's no light matter. For example, right? If a person is thought to be a Kohen and he really isn't, and as a result of this he goes on to the Temple Mount, for example, or he does services, certain types of services, or he eats sacrifices. These are things a person would be liable for the death penalty. How can the Torah have such serious laws dependent on something which, according to you, is a doubt, who the Father is. Rather, you see from here that the Torah doesn't doubt who the Father is. The Torah's laws of family purity and of relationship with husband and wives, within particular constants, says we know who the mother is and we also know who the father is. If you know otherwise, of course, it could be adultery, right? If you have no indication otherwise, you see that even for these serious matters, the Torah uses the patrilineal descent to decide who this person's identity is. And that shouldn't be done, according to this smart person's rationale. So you see, it has nothing to do with the fact that you know who the mother is. It has nothing to do with that whatsoever. It has to do with the fact that the Creator said, as far as Jewish identity is concerned, it's based on the mother. And according to tribal affiliation, it goes according to the father. Because that's what the Torah says. Okay? Mordechai? Am I saying anything?
In my animals, they go according to their mother. Before.
Yeah, so there are certain things that you go according to the mother and certain things you go according to the father. Yeah, I'm just saying it has nothing to do with these rationales that people come up with, saying, since the reason for the law is this, and that reason doesn't apply, so we don't have to do the mitzvahs. These are just examples of scoffing. Yeah.
Rabbi, but I feel like there are two versions of that. There's one where a person feels that, doesn't express it, and there are people who go out there and make fun of it. In this chapter, I'm assuming it's on silence. So is it more okay for a person to feel that way and not say anything?
It would be better to think those thoughts without expressing them.
Right.
But thinking the thoughts are thoughts of heresy, and that's a prohibition. It's not like he's not doing anything wrong by thinking these thoughts. Usually the Torah prohibits actions, but there are some things which are prohibited even in the realm of thought. One of them is sexual immorality, and the other is spiritual immorality, meaning having a what is it called? Having an affair with disbelief, with unbelief. So you're not allowed to harbor those thoughts.
So if someone's like skeptical of a certain thing, like it was just Sukkot, I was just shaking lulav and etrog.
And like, what is this?
Yeah, right. Is that wrong to just think that?
Well, you can think, this is an interesting practice. I wonder what this is all about. That's okay. But if you say, this feels really silly. I mean, I can't believe I'm doing this. Does this really?
In your mind, not telling anyone.
Yeah. So those are normal, natural, healthy. I mean, those are normal thoughts to think. But the person has to do it, number one, because the Torah says so, number two, because the rabbis told him that the Torah says so, and number three, because he has a belief that there is really some meaning to it, even if he doesn't know what that is yet. So he should probably kind of, in that moment, at least transfer his thoughts of ridicule to something which is more like curiosity. From what is this to what is this? But it's common, it's true, of course, we're all going to have that, but there is a prohibition to think about these thoughts, and the person has to, we all have them, right? But it's important to, like I said, to try and say, well, I do believe in God and the Torah, and that this is a mitzvah. So, rather than saying, what is this? I'm going to say, what is this? And then you should do something about it by looking into it a bit, whatever the mitzvah may be, reading about it, learning about it, asking about it in order to grow. There's nothing wrong with asking the question. There might be something wrong with how you ask the question, and if you ask the question right, then in the right way, then the result would be to research. Yeah, it's a very good point. But in any case, right, regarding what you say about this being a chapter of silence, his point is that since we all have a tendency to ridicule and to be, and to scoff and things like this, when we find those feelings welling up inside of us, the first response should be lock up. Then deal with it internally to diffuse it. But certainly it's better not to say it than to say it. As we're saying, you should be quiet. When it comes to late sonas, don't talk. You're harboring inside, that's also prohibition, but it's not as bad as speaking it. Now that you're not speaking it, try and diffuse it. There's nothing wrong with speaking it over with somebody, that's a different story. Go to a friend or a rabbi or a relative and say, I had these thoughts, and then, what's this all about, really? Maybe you can help me make sense of this, for example. Rabbi? The fourth type of scoffing is somebody who's always just talking nonsense. Kmo yoshvei kronos, the people who sit around on the corners, gambling, playing checkers, drinking, having a beer, watching traffic go by. They're looking just for opportunities to amuse themselves. Because they got nothing else to busy themselves with than looking for people who they can make fun of. There are two evils that come out of this. A person who talks, the more he talks, the more he brings about transgression, specifically if he's talking about nonsense. The second, he is negating Torah study. And this is a path towards death. Ki loy som el liboy ki be'es azois who yoshev u'mislases hayachol lilmoid ulasois mitzvah liknos chaylam ba, because he doesn't take to heart the fact that while he's talking all this nonsensical speech, he could actually be learning Torah. To spending his time much more wisely. And the same thing applies to watching movies, or watching sports, or reading the newspaper, or Newsweek, or magazines, whatever the case may be. Right? As we said yesterday, more often than not, right, the volumes and volumes of things that are being shown or said or written are really worthless. And therefore, if a person needs a constructive break from time to time in a limited way, that's one thing. But just to indulge in all of these things, just wasting his time. In the same hour that he spent watching that movie, or 2 hours, maybe he could be learning Torah. Hamishi, the fifth. I don't know how he got up to 5, because he said there were 4, right? He said there were 4. No, I'm wrong. He said 5. Yes. So they were up to 5. Saying this scoffing is 5 divisions. And the fifth, Hamisloses al maaseh va'al dvorim. Lo mechmas shehu baz lo isoi maaseh shu misloses. Somebody who makes fun of things or actions, not because he disrespects them. Elohu loyeg kederach hamisachakim derech chok. He's just doing it like people who make a joke. And this sometimes is caused by alcohol. People getting together and drinking. Let's hayain hoime shechar. That the let's, this scoffer, he desires wine and beer. Okay? So this might be the category that you were kind of just talking about yesterday, where he's not doing it with any bad intention, not because just to make fun. Just a joke. Just a good time. Not necessarily because he's disrespecting a person or a thing. He's just finding an opportunity to laugh, make a joke. So that also seems to be unacceptable here. Yeah, it's a 5th form of scoffing.
So you can never laugh. That's what it sounds like.
No, you're not saying you can't laugh. You just can't laugh at other people's expense.
Okay.
I mean, make fun of people.
So if you don't necessarily disrespect someone because you're drunk, you're making fun of something about them.
No, you're making fun of them. I think that would be considered making fun of them. You can laugh at a joke, for example. The joke doesn't have to be making fun of somebody or something.
What's this 5th side? What's an example?
The 5th I'm making fun of somebody, like you were talking about yesterday.
Oh,
just making fun of somebody.
I didn't mean making fun of somebody. I mean
or a group.
No, is that what he said?
I thought you were talking about like making fun of a group, like for different groups make fun of other groups.
Oh yeah.
I thought that's what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Making jokes with other people.
Yeah. So
I remember.
So we were saying that if it's lighthearted and generally nobody's going to be hurt or offended, then I guess my suggestion yesterday was that perhaps technically speaking, be permitted. It's probably not the best idea because you never know whether a person or a group would be offended or not, and even if it starts innocuous, it can very easily turn into something offensive.
Yeah.
It often does. V'da ki lo yeh minig leitzonos kavua ba'odom ad shu poirek ol shamayim alav. You should know that this scoffing attitude really is only comes upon a person when he has shirked the yoke of heaven from upon himself. V'al ken yikabel alav oynesh l'ses olav yisuim mida keneged mida. And therefore, such a person who has been a scoffer should accept upon himself the punishment. Mida keneged mida. He wants to throw off the yoke of heaven, so he should accept upon himself difficulties. Shneimar, it says, "V'ata al titlot tzatzu pen yichseku moisoichem." Stop making fun of everything, right? Otherwise, your punishments will be increased. The wise men were careful to warn their students not to make fun of people, even temporarily, even something minor and spontaneous. And therefore they found it necessary to warn their students, because plenty of people transgress this prohibition of scoffing and making fun of people just when it's kind of off the cuff, off the record, just a one-time thing, nothing particularly serious, nothing particularly offensive. No, you see from here that people should be discouraged. Wise men discourage their students from doing this. This might imply that, technically speaking, in the situations I said, it might not be prohibited, but a person should be quite careful and not be involved in it at all. Somebody makes fun of people who do mitzvos. This leans towards heresy. Because if he's making fun of the mitzvos, he shows to that extent that he's making fun of it, he doesn't believe it. And this is like somebody makes fun of the commandments of the king. Klum chaim yeshlo. Such a person, does he have any life? Meaning, if the king heard him, laughing at, joking about, and making light of the king's decrees, he would help his light-headed condition by taking the head off taking his light-headed head off his body. So such a person is like not deserving of life. And the scoffer is going to cool down other people's enthusiasm so that they won't do the mitzvahs either. Because they're going to be afraid of being made to ridicule, being ridiculed. One way in which you can make fun of is idol worshippers. You are allowed to make fun of idolatry.
I've never heard a funny joke about
about idols. Yeah, but the point is you can scoff. Scoff at them. Oh, that's a bunch of ridiculous garbage. Those, you could whatever, scoff, make fun of, take light of things having to do with idolatry. That he says you can do. And you can also make fun of people who are transgressing in order to use that to prevent them from transgressing. I don't think he's saying that you should. I think you can. If you've tried other more reasonable measures and it still doesn't work, and this person is brazenly transgressing the commandments in front of everybody, then if you need to, you can even resort to making fun of this person, to ridiculing him in order to embarrass him, in order to prevent him from doing these transgressions.
No, that's a good idea.
Okay.
They might go even further if you make fun of them for...
Yeah, but still, I guess if you have no other choice, then number one, you might be able to stop him, and number two, at least you've tried, and number three, even if it causes him to do more, hopefully it'll cause other people to do less. Oh, that's the point he says here. And others will not do the transgression when they're made fun of for transgressing. Again, I don't think a person should be too liberal about using this technique. only as maybe a kind of more towards the last case
especially-
measure.
Especially with Baal Tshuva, I feel like that would be.
That's a different case.
Yeah, he's talking about if a person's transgressing and he's causing other people to transgress, and you've tried to prevent him and others from doing these wrong things in different types of calm, polite ways, then once it gets extreme, then it might be appropriate to use extreme measures like this, embarrassing him or others to prevent them from doing wrong, just like they might want to embarrass other people to prevent them from doing right.